Let's go, and this is in alphabetical order. I'm going to do the bios, and I'll go ahead and just do the bio, and Johnny Carroll will be first. And Johnny, I'll read your bio, and then if you can stand up, give us a just 2-minute introductory speech. Appreciate that. Johnny Carroll has lived in this community for over 23 years. He served this community as Deputy Constable for Precinct 5 for almost 17 years. He's been married for 21 years to his wife, April, and has 3 daughters. 2 attend school in Magnolia, and his oldest is attending Texas A&M in Kingsville, Texas. Johnny is a straightforward man, is very dedicated to what he believes in. He's a member of the Texas Municipal Police Association, and also a member of the Justice of the Peace and Constables Association of Texas. He has certifications as a T-Close instructor and field training officer. Johnny believes his experience makes him the right choice for the Constable of Montgomery County, Precinct 5. So folks, please welcome Johnny Carroll. Johnny?
Is my time started today? It's now.
How y'all doing?
My name's Johnny Carroll, and again, I'd like to say that I'm not the greatest speaker, and I'm not a great politician yet, but I'm working on those things. There's 3 things I'd really like to implicate or touch on, and it's education. Educating our kids, that's the most important thing to me. Right now, the school district and the county puts on an event called Shadow Ice Program. It educates the juniors and the seniors and high school kids on the effects of drugs and alcohol. Great program. I think we need to implement some programs that from all the way from elementary on up into junior high to have the children be aware of the dangers and the effects of strangers. The dangers of the strangers and the effects of drugs and alcohol as well. Also, service. Our primary goal in the constable's office, and I'm nervous. I get nervous up here and speaking in front of everybody. But our primary goal is to take care of the JP court. That's why the constables are here. We got to serve the JP court, serve the civil process, bail up the courts, serve warrants, writs, evictions, etc. And that's our primary goal. But I think by reducing, I'm a horrible speaker, and I'm sorry, y'all. I get so nervous I'm doing this kind of stuff. But I know what's in my mind, and it's hard to say it sometimes, but I'm trying my best. And the main thing is I think I can utilize my manpower to increase patrol functions in our community. And by doing this, it's going to reduce the crime and drugs that's in our community. We got to be proactive. We've got to listen. We got to listen to the community and listen to the people. Y'all are our eyes and our ears. And if we don't focus on that, we're going to lose touch of it. It's kind of like Greens Point and Millbrook. Time stop. I read it.
All right, thank you, Johnny. Okay, next is Brian Clack. Brian Clack was born in Houston, Texas, and moved to the Precinct 5 Magnolia area when he was 8 years old. After graduating from Tomball High School, he began a career in photography, which he would later own his own business. With a desire to become a police officer, he started the police academy. After graduation, he was hired with the Magnolia Police Department and has been promoted to detective. Brian now has the desire to be your next constable and improve the department by making it more proactive by promoting public safety. So please welcome Brian Clapp.
Okay, again, like Johnny, I'm not a public speaker. I'm not very good at this either, but I'll do my best. I'm from this area. I grew up in this area. I know now, after being a police officer in this area, that we have a major problem with drugs out here. I don't want my kids to grow up in an area with drugs like that we have out here. Being a detective with Magnolia, we're working on these problems every day. If we run across a house, we will get a search warrant, we'll go in their house, we'll take the drugs out. I know that the main goal for Precinct 5 Constable's Office is to serve Judge Matt Masden's court. It is to do civil process. Although all the other constables' offices throughout the state of Texas have decided they have time on their hands to also be proactive and fight crime. We do have time to fight crime. We can go out there and fight crime as a constable's office. Precinct 5 does not only have to do civil service. We can fight crime. There are drugs out here that we need to be taken out. They're getting drugs in our schools. I spoke with a person yesterday from elementary school. She was very concerned about her child that wanted these patches. I researched it for a couple hours, found out it comes from a Batman episode. You put a patch on the back of your neck, and you become a superhero. Well, also, there's Stadol patches out here. If these kids get a Stadol patch and put it on them, they will end up dead. We have had people have passed away in our city from these Stadol patches. We don't want these in our schools. We don't want them around our children. We don't want the adults taking them. These are a serious issue, and it came from a cartoon, and we don't want that out here. Out of time? 15. So, whenever you're going to vote this year, make sure you remember Brian Clack as your candidate for constable this year. I'd appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, next is Constable David Hill. Constable David Hill began his law enforcement career with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice in 1967. After serving a year and a half with TDCJ, he, along with his brother Bill, were accepted into the Texas Department of Public Safety Academy. After graduating from the Texas DPS Academy as a trooper in February 1969, he was stationed in Magnolia, Texas. In 1982, he ran for and was elected as the constable of Precinct 5 in Montgomery County. Constable Hill has served the Magnolia and surrounding community for the past 43 years in law enforcement, 29 of those as the constable of Precinct 5. Born and raised in Palestine, Texas, Constable Hill knew he wanted to be a police officer as far back as the 5th grade when a Texas Ranger visited his school. Constable Hill married his high school sweetheart Linda in 1967. They have 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. So please welcome Constable David Hill.
I'm passing that mic. I don't like microphones. I get feedback and all those things from that. You know, I can stand up here and tell you all the things I'm going to do, but those of you who lived in this community and served in this community, like y'all have, y'all are the leadership of our community, I believe. I think y'all know me. I think y'all know what we do, how we do it. I have a different philosophy on law enforcement. I'm very proud of having a different philosophy in law enforcement. I'm supported by, first off, I think the community. Second, by the Commissioner's Court, the Sheriff, Tommy Gage. Tommy and I talked about civil and criminal. I asked Tommy, do you want me investigating criminal activity in Magnolia? He says, that's what I've got. I've got deputies, I've got a detective bureau, I've got a CIS, I've got all those things, and you doing the same work would be a duplication of services. I am very, very conservative. I have not had a new deputy position for civil process since 1997. Our commissioner is also very conservative. He's not increased the size of his crew since he took office. So I'm into budget, I'm into taking care of the people, and again, I believe, I believe if I started lying to you up here, you'll probably throw me out on my ear. So I'm going to let y'all have the rest of the time back. Please, I'd like to make 50 years in law enforcement. I only need 5.5 more. So if y'all will work with me for the next 5.5 years, I guarantee y'all work for y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Constable Hill. Okay, now on to the questions. Got some good ones too. Okay, this will be for each of the candidates, and you won't need the timer on this one. Okay. I guess let's start, since we started with Johnny on the intro. Let's start with Brian on the questions. Okay, and then we'll go this way. Okay, describe yourself in one word.
Honest.
Okay.
Servant.
All right, very good. Okay. This is for everyone. Okay. Read the writing. Okay. All right. Here's a quick. We'll start with Constable Hill on this one. All right. Why are you uniquely qualified to run for the position you're campaigning for?
I bring to the table 29 years of experience of dealing with budget. I have maintained my budget and not gone over in 29 years. Also, I do not have any comp time, which to me is unfunded deal through the county, because we do not have an overtime budget, and I can't keep my people within their time on that, so I think I'm conservative, and I think that is the reason.
What was the question again, I'm sorry?
Okay. Question is, why are you uniquely qualified to run for the position you're campaigning for?
Well, I have 17 years of law enforcement, all currently at precinct 5, and I know the ins and outs, and I know what needs to be done, and has to be done with the growth in our community. And that is, we need to be proactive, we need to reduce the crime, because if not, it's ultimately going to affect our property value. It's kind of like Greens Point and Willowbrook. Those were nice areas at one time. Growth rate came in, crime rate came in. Now those areas, bad areas. And ultimately causes our property values to drop.
All right. Brian?
I believe that I'm the best for this position for the fact that training comes daily. Every day they come up with new training for officers. We train year-round. The schooling that was offered 30, 40 years ago is not the same schooling they give out now, because things have changed. And we have to adapt to the future. We have to be prepared for what's coming forward. And being new in this field also, I've been trained only how we should be doing it now, not how we should have done it. Because now, each year, they come out with new laws and new procedures that we should go by. And that's the way I was trained.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right, next question. And let's see, I think we're going to start, Johnny, with you on this one. Okay. This is for everyone. What will you do to bring better unity between the local law enforcement agencies?
That's pretty easy. We have to remember as law enforcement agencies and law enforcement officers that we're all there for one goal, and that's public safety. We have to work together. At the end of the day, that's what we're all there for. And we need to work together and bring that team together. We need to work as a team. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my hardest and have my deputies. We need to realize that goal, and we need to meet that goal. We got to bring each other together and work together.
Very good. Brian?
I currently work well with all three departments. I work well with the sheriff's department and the constable's office now. If I hear something in the schools, I contact the officer that is in that school, and I try to let them know what I heard on the streets. And they do the same thing with me. As far as the sheriff's department, if I know of something that's going on outside the city limits, I make sure they're aware of it. Yesterday, I notified them of a new drug house that's popped up in our area that I have information on. We work well together. We go to breakfast each morning, and it's more of a information give out than anything. We tell each other everything that we had the day before. Their crimes solve my crimes. My crimes solve their crimes. It's the same people doing the same things out here. And working well with each department is the best thing we can do out here.
All right, thank you. Constable Hill?
Read that one more time.
Okay. Question is, what will you do to bring better unity between the local law enforcement agencies?
I think leadership is our key point. I think we, as a constable, need to be leaders in our community, leaders in our law enforcement community, and I think I'll continue to do that.
All right, very good. Okay, next question. I think we'll be able to get to all the questions. We've got some time here. Okay, good question so far. Okay, so we'll start with Brian on this one. All right, what changes do you want to make to the office and why?
First off, my biggest change is to get out there and start fighting crime. We will start that immediately. Day one that I get in there, we will be fighting crime. Two, I want to make sure everybody understands. The rumor out there right now is that I'm going to come in and wipe out every officer that works for Precinct 5. Precinct 5 has great officers. I do not want to get rid of their officers. I just want to be the leader of those officers. I want to help them perform in the performance level that we need to be performing out here. So the main change is to get out and be proactive and start fighting crime. But I also want to know, I am not changing the department as far as staff. There is no reason to change the staff. Snap is good. If they wanna work for me and they wanna go out there and fight crime, then they're gonna be on board with me. So,
Thank you. Constable Hill?
Read that again for me.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm the same way, I'm getting.
That's okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, what changes do you want to make to the office and why?
I don't know of any changes that I need to make right now, but I listen to the community. When the community speaks, I respond, as I have for 29 years, and my door is open. And I would encourage anyone who has ideas for change to come in and talk to me.
Okay, very good. Johnny, you want me to read that again?
Read them one more
Okay,
time.
no problem, that's okay, that's okay. All right. What changes do you want to make to the office and why?
Well, I want to make ultimately the change in leadership. I think it's time for a change in leadership. And I think, let's say again, what change you want to bring in there? I want to change by, like I said earlier, utilizing my manpower to its full extent. That way we can get the civil process done. We can go reduce the crime and drugs by utilizing that. We need to get out of the office and get out on the street. And that's ultimately gonna reduce the crime and drugs. I'm gonna have that open door policy. We've got to listen to people. We've got to listen to our deputies, and they got to be working in a positive work environment. And that's one thing I'm gonna create.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you guys, done a great job so far, all of you. Okay, next question. And we'll start with Constable Hill on this one, right? Okay. Question is, do you plan on growing the department as the community grows?
I plan on growing the community as much as the budget will allow. I can sit here and tell you we're going to put 19 cars out there on the street and we're going to fight crime and make the road safe for old women and small children, but we do that with $1.5 million budget. 95% of my budget goes to salary and benefits. Leaves me 4.5%, almost 5% to do things with. And I think I just need to keep that up.
That's gonna be ultimately up to the Commissioner's Court. I mean, the Commissioner's Court, I would love to have an extra 2 or 3 people. That would give us so much more opportunity to get these missions accomplished that I have in mind. But without the Commissioners giving us the funding, we're not gonna do that. And ultimately, I'm gonna ask for it. I don't know if it's gonna work, and I'm gonna ask. I would love to expand the department. I really think it needs to be the rate we have.
Okay, Brian?
I will to expand that department. Right now, what we do with drug dealers out there, if we run across a drug dealer, we will take their car, we'll take their house, we'll take everything they have. What you do with that, you turn around and sell it. That selling that property turns into income for your department. Your department will be able to use that seizure money for other things. We can bring money to Precinct 5 by getting out there and working. So if you're only allowed a certain amount from the Commissioner's office, that's all you're allowed from the Commissioner's office. Go out there, get grants, get money from other places. Seizures, grants, anything that there's money to be offered, you can get that money. It is available to every agency out there. So yes, I will grow the department.
All right, very good, okay. Wow, we got to the last question. Well, although it's 3 questions on the same card. So okay, and we're just do one at a time. And we're going to start with Johnny on this one. Okay. All right. What question is, what is your administrative background?
My administrative background, actually, I don't have none right now. I've never administrated, but I do consider myself a leader, and I've trained many of the officers that are there at Precinct 5, and I think I can expand my knowledge that I have at Precinct 5 to better this community.
Okay. Brian?
Administrator, I worked for Ron West Photography for many years. I went, from day one, I went out on my own to each school that he had contracts with. I worked with the school districts. I set up all the stuff that we had to do each time. Then I went on to own my own photography company. I ran my own company by myself. I did everything, went out, found the business that I needed. I did all of my information and stuff that by myself. Now Magnolia Police Department, I am the only detective Magnolia Police Department has. So I lead their investigation division on my own. And I also lead other officers there, help train them. Sat in the supervisor meetings and helped plan out things with our department. So I have a lot of administrative background where I came from.
Constable Hill?
Like I say, I've been constable since 1983, January of '83. I started with a chief deputy and a clerk. We now have 20 officers, 8 of them provided by the school, 2 provided for livestock, the other 6 or 7, I've got to throw in a bailiff in there, the other 6 or 7 do the real work. Go ahead, read that again for me.
Your administrative background.
Administrative, I've done it all. I trained when I was highway patrol, I trained 4 or 5 rookie troopers, and I've trained Johnny. Johnny's had some of the best training in Montgomery County. You can train other
All right, okay, next question. Start with Brian on this one. Okay, I guess it's a civil process experience. I guess describe your civil process experience.
Civil process experience comes from, right now in the city, if we have a civil call that comes through our department, we'll take care of it ourselves. A lot of times we do transfer them over to the Precinct 5 office because we do not do civil standbys. Civil standby is having a police officer stand there while you get your property out of your house. It does not take much for someone to do that. Civil process also comes from serving papers that are given by Matt Masden. Those papers can be a warrant, can be an eviction, can be anything. If I can serve a warrant through Magnolia Police Department, I can serve a warrant through Matt Masden's office. If I can write a search warrant, take it over to Matt Masden's office, have him sign it, and then me go execute that search warrant, I believe I can evict someone also.
Okay. Constable Hill?
Civil process is more than just evicting people. I have a, in fact, Lieutenant Buchanan there handles writs. Now, writ of possession is where I come out to your house and seize your property to sell it for someone else, to pay a debt. Now, if you do that wrong, do you know who's liable? Constable is liable. That man is, not only is he trained, knows what he can seize, what he cannot seize, and he must do that. He must do it correctly, not one time, but every time. It is not just go out and drop a paper on somebody's desk or doorstep and drive off. Civil process is a very deep and a very, can be a very liable, I can become liable for a whole lot of damages. We've shut down businesses, we've hauled out their inventory, and if you don't do that right, like I say, I wind up buying things I can't eat.
Civil process, man, I almost want to consider myself as a guru sometimes on civil process. I know the ins and outs of civil process, done everything there is about civil process. If I don't know the answer to it, I will find out. That's how passionate I am about the civil process part of this job. I've stumped some judges a couple of times. One of them's around here. Anyway, I know the ins and outs of the civil process like the back of my hand. And if I don't know it, I'm going to look it up and find the answer to it.
I answered it.
You already answered it.
Okay, it looks like actually the next question only applies to one candidate, so we probably won't do that one, but a bunch of great questions. We're actually, it looks like a little bit ahead of schedule, so I'll tell you what, real quick, let's switch it up just for a second. Why don't we go ahead and do, it's okay with everyone, we'll just let each of the candidates do just a brief 1 minute, final speech. Y'all okay with that? Okay, and who did we start on the bios? Who went first? Johnny went first. So let's start with Brian on the 1 minute, just final speech.
Okay, 1 minute final speech. My final speech would be, we need a new constable. We need a new constable in our area to protect our families, our children, through the schools, through our households, everything. We do not need to just spend quality time on civil process. We do have a lot of civil process out here. Precinct 5 is a large area. It's larger than the sheriff's department and definitely larger than the city of Magnolia. So the precinct 5 goes out a lot further than I can go out as a police officer for the city of Magnolia. I believe I can benefit the whole county, the whole precinct 5 area. If I'm able to be your constable, I can protect you a lot more than just being in 2 square miles of the city limits of Magnolia.
Okay, thank you, Constable Hill.
I believe in community policing. Community policing was taught to me by my first partner, Dan Dogate, back in, from 1969 to 1973. We invented community police work. That is listening to what the community needs done and responding to that. I've done that for the last 29 years. I'll do it for the next 5.5 years if you folks will keep me in there. Thank y'all.
Okay, Johnny?
Here we go. Not good at this. But here's the deal, y'all. I gave up, I have so much passion and love for this community. I gave up over 16 years of my job in my county retirement. And that right there ought to be a statement for itself that Precinct 5 has to have change in leadership. And I appreciate y'all's vote.
Thank you. All right, very good. Well, guys, great job on the speeches and the questions. I learned a lot personally about what a constable does and the functions, and learned about each of you, and hopefully the rest of the crowd did too. So we appreciate you all being here. And folks, let's give them a hand. Let's go ahead and invite our candidates for state representative up. Go ahead and get started.